reach for my reading glasses and guess what ain't here.
Uh-oh.
I have a pair of magnifiers in my office.
Well, thank you very much. I mean, I'm just about to the point where my arms aren't long enough.
Oh, so mine are they're magnifiers.
It was on the side.
Yeah,
I gotta be right
fold us with
here.
that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a bunch of late ones. They didn't file. I'm guessing Scott is probably just clearing the airport about now.
Oh, so make that of the meeting?
I doubt it.
I thought he was coming back last night.
No. Supposed to have landed around 6, but I think it's done with baggage, get your vehicle and everything. It's another half hour to an hour.
You might get right around.
And I wouldn't hold your breath. Okay, now being 7 o'clock, call the meeting of the Village Board of Trustees for Dansville to order. Please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Please be seated. Okay. At this time, we have 4 sets of minutes to approve. Department head meeting on April 12th, organizational meeting on April 12th, the 2017-18 budget public hearing minutes on April 12th, and the regular meeting minutes on April 18th. May I have a motion to approve? Motion from trustee Nagel, a second.
I'll second.
A second from trustee Zay. Any discussion? Comments, additions, deletions? Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Motion passes 4-0. We have no privilege of the floor this evening. Moving on to mayor's comments, correspondence. Just as a reminder, Key Bank's Make a Difference Day is on May 24th, and I believe we have them over at the Girl Scout House. Cleaning up around that. Village Boards Association dinner for June is here in Dansville. It'll be held over at the Episcopal Church in the back of it. Let's see, good turnout for that. It looks like we're going to have somebody from Toma Development speaking about the housing programs that we've been fortunate to get from the state. Unbeknownst to me, I guess Bernie Toma actually has a place up on Loon Lake, so he probably will be the person, I'm guessing, instead of someone coming all the way from Cortland.
What time was that? At 6? What is it?
We'll have the cocktail hour around 6. There'll be some refreshments for everybody.
That's, I already put it in my calendar.
For officers, all the officers.
Yeah, the department heads, actually anybody that we can afford to take. Now, obviously, it starts with the elected officials, and we'll work on down. Usually, we don't get too many people, except for the local one. So I'm guessing we'll probably have 7 or 8 about that.
Kind of like a dinner and...
It's a dinner, a little social hour, and there'll be a presentation. And we'll have a few moments at the end to probably re-elect me as the president. Since it's supposed to be just...
Wives involved in
It-
that, or?
Pardon?
Just the officers, no wives or anything for this?
That's
Just
correct.
officers.
Yeah, just the office. It's supposed to be Geneseo's...
Not a night on the town.
No. Well, you could probably make it that.
Where is it at again?
It'll be at the Episcopal Church over here on the corner, in the back door. Supposed to rotate between the villages as to who is the next president. It should be Geneseo's turn, but Geneseo's mayor isn't sure if he's going to be the run again. So I told him that put him in charge of the nominating committee, and he's working on it. If they have a change, then later on we'll adjust. But Dick Hathaway, the current mayor down there, was the mayor for umpteen years. I mean, was the president for umpteen years. Nobody wanted it. That's when they came up with this rotation bit, which makes a lot more sense. Anyway, that's where we stand on that. Tomorrow, evening, 6 o'clock, down in front of Artworks, there's going to be a proclamation read by the mayor commencing a ferry door promotion ceremony. And I don't know if you're very familiar with the ferry door, sort of a marketing promotion activity that we actually are participating in. Have we put ours out yet?
Yeah, put it out until tomorrow.
Until tomorrow, okay.
Kind of like a geocache, you search for them.
Yeah, it's a scavenger hunt's what it really boils down to. Megan's going to
You
participate.
can't put where that's at though. You can't put that we're having one in here in the village, in the
It's
building.
right where the air conditioner is.
Yeah, it's right there with that air conditioner. That's the ferry door. We'll grind them up as they come through.
You wear your jacket next month, won't you?
They use it as a wood chipper.
In your folders, there should be a copy of the Countywide Shared Services Initiative, which is being mandated by the governor. Sort of mandated.
So we can use all the county stuff?
Well, what happens is, I'm a member of the panel down there that puts this thing together, each village and town, and obviously the county itself. Ian Coyle is the chairperson for this panel. And we have to come up with something, I believe it's by the end of the year, if I'm not mistaken. I have some ideas. You know, most of the villages, it only applies to all of the counties other than New York City.
Isn't that funny?
Yeah.
Even Albany County though, I'm surprised.
Schools can participate if they want to. They're not forced into it, but the rest of us are supposed to participate. There's more to follow on that one. Okay. And this next one, I don't want to mention any more about that. Just that there's something going on. Jasmine, I would appreciate it if you wouldn't say anything. This is supposed to be a surprise.
Oh, okay.
Okay. My suggestion is be there on the 9th.
On the 9th,
Yeah, I believe it's at 5 o'clock
June 9th,
at Growing Places.
growing places.
Yeah.
Okay.
We're trying to make this a surprise, so I'm not going to mention any names here, although I think everybody sort of has an idea. Okay, Memorial Day celebration is on the 29th, I believe. It's the last Monday of the game, or of the month. And parade, I believe, forms at 9:30, kicks off at 10. And then there'll be a ceremony down at the Veterans Memorial in Williams Park. I'll get with Scott because we'll need to clean that up, make sure it's in good shape for the 29th. I received actually Dennis Mass came in and gave me a copy of a letter that had been received by Dick LaBarre. It was really for the town, but Dick, back when he was still, I'm going to say it was probably January, February, had been approached by Bill Gilbert from the American Legion to, I guess, approach Senator Young. Well, maybe making Route 63 from town line to town line, Veterans Memorial Highway. And you see them all over the place. I'm not sure where that stands at this point. Of course, Dick not being on the board anymore, he sort of stepped out of the picture. But Dennis is it really impacts him probably more than us, because that's where the signs will be out in the township probably as soon as you come in. If they ever go forward with it, sort of gets a state legislature to pass one of these things. So you're up on it if anybody should say anything. And I do have a notice of a ZBA public hearing for 309 Main Street. An individual wants to make that into a redemption center.
Holland Can Redemption Center, where the Kids Start used to be.
Out there behind, Dogwood Daycare.
Yeah, it's the little white house that used to be the school administration, then the first blue building used to be the Kids Start. That's where he wants to put a Bottle and Can Redemption Center. And then Dogwood Daycare is the big building with the canopy. You can drive on there.
So,
It's currently zoned low density residential, so you can't do it without an area variance from the zoning board of appeals.
yeah, so that's just to notify us. Because I'm guessing we're notified because we got the right-of-way back there.
Because we own property within 200
Yeah.
feet of the property asking for the variance.
That's where the water line goes down through. Okay, and with that, switch over to committee reports. Megan, anything new on the action list?
Everyone should have received a copy via email. I don't have mine, but I believe the only update from last week was that you and I, Mayor, were going to work on options for reserves
Mm-hmm.
together. That was the only addition, unless anyone has anything else. Okay.
So we just let the list keep growing.
And I am working on, no one's here from the ambulance tonight, but I'll let them know. I am working on those numbers that we had talked about as far as putting their employees on our payroll. I have gathered some as far as like federal and state taxes, what it would cost if they participate in retirement, that type of stuff, but I'm still waiting for a call back from the Federal Department of Labor, which governs us, to just make sure that we would be compliant with all of their regulations.
Do we have anything new on the home grant?
We're still working through paperwork, and I see you have later on the agenda, we are going to need a resolution tonight accepting the home award. And in the resolution, we'll also need to state that Mayor Vogt will execute the contract documents, that he's authorized to do that. And then we can get that sent, we'll get the resolution sent to them, they'll send us the contract, we can sign that. We're moving forward. Things are going quickly.
Okay. Okay, the
Do you
next,
want to do that now, or?
we just wait till we get
It's
to
on
it.
the agenda
It's on
for
the
later.
agenda. We'll just jump into that.
Oh, okay, unfinished business. I was looking at our new business.
Okay. Zoning code and leash law changes, still working on that, but most of you got copies last week. Norm, I don't know if you had a chance to look at it yet.
I looked through it quick.
Okay. I would like to go ahead and have a public hearing on those changes for next month. I will not be here on the 14th, or I shouldn't say the 14th, whatever day of the first, June 14th, I won't be here. I'll be back on the 20th for the regular meeting. Why don't we set it up?
It's going to be that night.
Pardon? Wait for me to be back?
Yeah.
Yeah, no problem. Okay. Is that okay with everybody? Megan, why don't we get out a notice on that?
Yep, is it for 7?
Yeah, we'll just hold it concurrently with the meeting. I don't foresee a lot of turnout for that. Could be wrong. Just make sure the downstairs is available in case there is. All right. And since talking about a public hearing, why don't we do the same thing for the sidewalk law? That's the one we'd already passed that one, but because
Didn't get
of
it in time.
didn't get it in on time, it's we have to go back through the vote again.
Did we?
We actually don't have, I take that back, we actually don't have to have another public hearing, but I want to go ahead and have one anyway.
Did you make some changes? You were saying you were going to make a couple alterations. Do you
Yeah,
want to just email us out whatever
I'll
the
get
alterations
those,
are?
I'll get those to you.
Can you update me on that a little bit, the sidewalk law?
Yes, it's to get sidewalks in better shape and maintained. The responsibility is going to be placed on the property owner themselves. They already have responsibility for that. That's not really, I mean, that's like we'll repair them, but they have to pay part of the cost for it, or they go hire somebody to do it themselves. Right now, there's no meat to the thing that really ensures that some of these sidewalks that need repairing do get repaired, and that's what this law will do.
Okay.
It's also for snow removal and that in the winter. Okay. Let's see, where was, and I'm still waiting back from, what was her name? Jamie, I believe. Jamie Thomason from the Genesee Finger Lakes Regional Council, Planning Council, that gave us that brief on the CRS program, so that, you know, Mike and Norm can hear about what the CRS program is. It's the community rating system, and it's one step that we can help reduce the flood insurance rates by, if we do certain things. There's, I think, 4 levels, and I don't think there's anybody in the state that is up to number 4. A couple, I guess, number 2, but we should be at...
Percentage-wise, though?
Yeah, it's not a lot, but at least it's something, and we need to do everything we can. I still have to go out with a letter yet to FEMA to request that they review their statistics, which I've got a copy, which was done apparently in May 1978. I don't think it's really ever been...
It's funny, because that whole flood plain down there didn't flood in the
in
flood of
72.
72.
No.
But in 78, they write it as a floodplain, but it never flooded in the 100-year storm. I mean, Agnes was a 100-year storm.
Yeah. And some of the numbers that Bruce Bach came up with don't make any sense. Now, they got like the water's 3 feet on one side of the road, zip on the other side. So somewhere in the middle of a level road, more or less level road, water drops off quickly. How that works, I don't know. But must be-
Or at the town line, it stops. No longer floods there.
That's true.
Town doesn't flood, only the village.
Yep. So, that's all a work in progress, and I don't have it for you, but I've received the lease for this building. It's the same thing as last year, except the cost has gone up a few bucks.
I figured that.
We put that in the budget, so if you want to vote on that now, because I don't think I put it later on, we can do that, unless you want to wait for a copy of it, take a look.
I'm pretty good with it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Motion to accept the lease as budgeted.
Okay, we have a motion from trustee Rittenhouse to accept the lease as budgeted.
Second.
A second from trustee Nagel. Any discussion? Questions? Okay, trustee Nagel.
Aye.
Trustee Say.
Aye.
And trustee Rittenhouse.
Aye.
And the mayor is an aye as well, passes 4-0. Thank you, gentlemen.
Now, as long as we're talking about leases, we've discussed that right away, or what's the proper word down there for the bus?
I haven't seen anything.
And this has been going on now. I mean, we haven't got anything. I mean, and I know that they've talked about, the building a building and all that stuff, but, I mean, that's never materialized.
No.
And
I think I asked it
they're
about
using
3-4 months ago.
We've asked for it about 2 years ago.
Yeah,
I mean,
I know.
at least for the last year, we've been after that, and we said what the language would be that we would like to use.
Mhm.
I think that needs to come to an end to get that taken care of, because they are utilizing it, and, I don't know if it's in their thing, but we need to get that taken care of.
Yeah.
I forget what the proper name of it is. It's a
Easement?
easement
Yep.
between, so you guys know where Matthews Buses is, and then across from the school they have property. They want an easement to come across our property to park buses, which they've been using it, but the easement's never been done, and we're well over a year. And that just needs to be on file and be taken care of. That's been going on too long. We gave them the verbiage that we wanted it to be.
Yep.
And it's been so long now, we're going to send it back to John and pay more money to have it reread to make sure it is.
We were, out of the kindness of our hearts, we allowed them to go ahead, but we just never did get the easement.
Well, and I think that was our first mistake,
Yep.
because by us just saying, yeah, go ahead and start, it's turned into, well, then don't worry about it. Where if you said, well, let's get the easement done, it probably would have been done a year ago.
Scott gave an answer the last time I asked about it. And I forgot now what he told me, or told us.
Can we put that easement, just because it always goes off, can we throw that on the action item list, please?
Put it
Thank
at the top.
Just because if it's not in our forefront, we forget about it. That's one of the things that would be good for that. Thank you.
Okay, do you have anything else under legislative, Megan?
I don't believe so.
Okay.
No.
Okey-doke. And we'll move on to public safety. Trustee Nagel.
Okay, we'll start with Tammy, code enforcement.
Just wondered, I haven't got any emails or anything, does anybody have any questions about the zoning changes, modifications, additions, or anything? Okay. Then the only thing I have right now is, I interviewed, clerks on Friday, a whole bunch. And, hang on, I'll get to it, I'm sorry. There we go. I would like to hire Alma, last name is Fonte.
Bonte.
I'm not going to pronounce it right, so I'm just spelling it. She lives on 436 in Austin, and out of the 10 people we got responding to the application, 5 of them didn't have the experience. The 5 that did, I met with them, and she kind of just made me happy, warm, and fuzzy inside. So,
It's a,
she reminds
So much to say, but I'm gonna refrain.
The best clerk I've ever had was Sharon Hewitt. I had her for 2.5 years. And this woman is exactly like her. And I mean, Sharon was the best. You couldn't have made better if you, and it was great.
so what she's asking for is just a consensus from the board to go ahead and hire her. We do have it in for 15 hours a week, but right now, we're just proposing to go with 10 to make sure everything's working okay. Then maybe as time goes by, we can up it, let's say it's budgeted for 15, but we don't have to go the full amount.
No, I'm good.
I'm good with it.
Okay? Go for it. Alrighty.
Now you're just all warm and fuzzy.
It was like the highlight of my day right there, guys. Probably the highlight of my week. I know.
Anything more, Tammy?
Anything more?
That's just,
Way to rock, just.
Well, Mike wanted a happy environment around here. You got it from Tammy.
Got a little bit of
I
warm.
never smiled when I was over that liaison position.
I'm gonna shoot down to the fire department. Glenn's not here, obviously.
Mhm.
I think Glenn did report that they had a fire up on Deer Park Drive, and Deer Park Drive, is it?
Mhm.
For the house, and he was absolutely, he was great turnout for that, and the fire was a great save, and that's his biggest report, is saving that house. And he thought that was wonderful, which it is wonderful, from the fire department's part. And pretty much he's still, he's looking for volunteers too, because they're not coming around like he'd like them to do. He's got a couple on background checks, and but they could always use more volunteers for sure, We all know that, just so we can save our houses like that. Being volunteers that I used to be, well, still, I'm kind of getting years and years in the volunteer fire department. That's one of I like that. It's good. I'd like to keep a volunteer around this building. I don't know how that's gonna go. I guess we'll go up down to the ambulance department. Gary was his name?
Jerry.
Jerry, yeah. He did report that ambulance 5281 having some issues with the coolant leaking. He's gonna have to take that to Old Connors, get it checked out. And I guess there was some kind of a damage done to it, but it was all taken care of, I guess, and for money that they had on hand, and what I got out of it anyway. And I'm pretty sure that the village is going to reimburse that somehow. The money
That was taken care of. Did you guys locate that? It came in through Greg, but
Yeah.
Was that the one you had to email today on? Where it hadn't been put in the?
Yeah, Yep. It did come in a separate check than the original fire department check, though it was made out to the fire department. And I have that on the budget modification list.
So that's, and then I guess it's been repaired, so no issues there, so. Other than that, we moved to the police department, chief.
I just throw in one thing on the, just as a heads up. I don't believe everybody here has that list. I did get a list from Jerry on the rate increase. We didn't put that in with the organizational meeting, so we're going to have to vote on that. We can either do it now or wait till next month for the changes. If you haven't seen it, then you probably need to look at it first.
Yeah, it was in there last, I don't have it with me, but I did look at it last week, it was in there.
Okay. Did you get a chance to look at it, Mike?
No, other than the rates that he gave me at the first meeting that we had.
Well, we just wait and we'll do it next month, make sure everybody's had a chance to look at them, and then we'll just add them on. Okay, that's all I had. I'm sorry.
Oh, that's fine. Guess I want to go with the chief.
Things are moving along, you guys are covering a lot of ground, taking a lot of calls, and making a ton of arrests. So the castle's busy, lots of trespassers with good weather.
I noticed that. It says trespassers, I assume it's the castle.
It is a castle, yeah, for the most part it's a castle, not all, majority, you know, it's that, I think we probably, I gotta say we probably charged all of 30, maybe even 40 people so far this year for being up there. And, you know, the word's getting out, so I mean, it works. I mean, we haven't had a local person in I don't know how long. It doesn't seem like we've had a local folk, but Poughkeepsie, Syracuse, Utica, Maryland, you know, so it's on the internet. It's one of those, I wouldn't say the haunted places, but you know, that attraction thing is on the internet, so it draws people from everywhere. So it is what it is. The owner continues to be very supportive, supporting us on the charges, so it is what it is, and we just have to stay at it. A lot of other issues, you know, not really accountable to any particular thing to do with the weather, it's just business. A lot of work with social services, mental health, and things like that. I might have mentioned last week there was a handgun found in the front yard of CVS, or not, Rite Aid. So sounds like we know who's responsible for that, so that's being worked out. Every day there's new stuff, significant new stuff. The guys are doing good running down through it. Along the same lines, you know, it's that time of year, so village ordinance business is brisk. Brush, brisk. Grass, brisk. The new law that Tammy made us all aware of with the unlicensed cars, you know, that's the list we're working off there. I'm going to try to get out a second notice here got to do it this week. Try to get out a second notice to people, letting them know that second notice and the deadline we're aiming for is May 31st. I don't know if you guys have gotten any calls from anybody, or you guys have. I've had plenty so far, folks, you too. Plenty so far, people want to know what the options are, and you know, they all realize it's getting down.
License or get rid of them or hide them.
Get down to the end. So people are responding, so that's nice to see. Carnival, be up in here on Thursday, parade on Saturday, car show at noon. I was wrong last month when I said 2, it's noon. So the car show's at noon. Walk and run at, what I think that's 9 or 10 a.m., so Saturday.
Probably kicks off at 9, I'm guessing.
So, we got a couple student ride-alongs right now from the law enforcement class at May Center in Bosse's. We got one in the morning, one in the afternoon.
Dansville students?
Kashaqua and, I don't know, Kashaqua somebody, but not Dansville. We've had plenty of dance in the past, but not this time around. I think that's about it, that I have right this second.
These are BOCES students?
Yes, yeah. Seniors to do the 1 week in the, I think they do 1 week in the fall and 1 week in the spring, I think is how they do it.
Mhm.
If I may add, I'm so excited about my flip thing, I forgot about our thing.
Here we go.
When you mentioned the unlicensed car thing, it reminded me, we do have a new business in town, car-related business. Did the fire inspection this past week, and they're open for business now. They just haven't put their sign up yet, 3 Main Street. I knew it as Neil Weidman's Excavation Company. I guess for a while it was some motor, some
Brookside or something called
So-
that?
Something,
Like that.
it's across from the Moose,
Yep.
the blue buildings.
Yep, yep.
It's 2T's Auto Repair, they specialize in tractor trailers.
Okay,
They've done a lot of work on the buildings, they're up to snuff.
that's right next to her brother's place.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because he owns to get
The old gas station, car wash, yeah.
Tomorrow's the first appearance, if he shows, on one owner of 117 and 20, 117 Main Street, 20 Liberty Street.
So wait with a bated breath.
Yeah, so we'll see if he shows, and, his co-partner, who's well aware that he has charges waiting here for him, has made, I think, 3 phone calls, basically suggesting he's unavailable due to something. But I'm not going to. Typically, I would call them back and,
Better reschedule.
yeah, but I made it very clear, he's had plenty of notice, he's well aware. I think I wrote the ticket to his partner 2 weeks ago now,
No,
week and a half ago.
almost 3.
Oh, is it that long already? So he's had plenty of notice to be in court, so if he doesn't show, I mean, there's nothing, he doesn't have an official notice right now, but he's been verbally explained by his partner, who has all the paperwork in his hand, what the expectation is, so we'll see if he shows. If he doesn't show, then we'll just deal with it accordingly. You got any comments on 8 Livingston Boulevard, grass and such there?
It's still getting high.
Yeah, well, I was there last night at 7 o'clock last night. I was there this morning at 10. I was back there today at 6. And someplace, he won't answer the door for me. He scooted out sometime in between and mowed the front. But I've got the charge written already, and, so I'm just gonna continue on with it, because he's been in violation. The grass is literally still in the backyard, still this high, at least that high. That's probably given it a couple inches. So,
Gonna need a sickle to take that
You can
down.
hide a car in there.
good high card in there.
If anyone calls,
It's that time of year. And I'll have to, tomorrow I'm hoping to go out and reevaluate what we've got, where we are with the cars, and also on the grass that I'm gonna ask the DPW to whack down, hopefully as soon as they can, throughout Stratton Main Street and all that right now, picking up the brush, but if they can get a chance to mow a couple of these vacant buildings, 50 West Avenue, if you look at that, that's this high. So,
Which one is that?
just before you get to Eagle Laundromat, last one on the right.
Oh, okay.
now, if we go mow it, is that taken care of? And
No, and the county won't reimburse us on that.
We've had it, we've had years where we've been upwards of, seems like 8 and 10 sometimes, but we're down, I'm hoping that we'll be down to.
you wish there was some way you could have some sort of.
We could probably do it from, hit the owner up. That would require probably the judge, we'd have to take him to court probably to get the money.
A lot of these places where, like the guy who lives in Boulevard, he lives in town, so we can hold him accountable, but most of these are like that, if they're paying foreclosures out of state banks, so you're kind of,
50 West Ave is paying for closures.
so a lot of times we send the notice, I got a response back from the bank yesterday, they're gonna take care of Mill Street, but usually by the time the bank actually, you get the paperwork to whoever's gotta go to, we've been a month and you just, can't, you're already here and you let it go there, so we whack it down before it gets that high.
Yeah, the only thing we can do is,
The neighbors, they gotta be,
Oh, yeah.
they're pretty.
Well, I know another place where it's
Pretty
like
decent
that, and I
neighbors.
know the 2 neighbors, or 3 neighbors that have pitched in to take care of themselves because
Yeah.
they want their neighborhood. I mean, it's nice they're doing that, but
Yeah.
on these other ones, it's kind of like, that's not really what our street crew's there for.
no,
It's not village property.
And
And the people who own it, who take control of it, whether it be a bank, should be held liable to pay, to have the upkeep done. It's not,
don't allow that, I mean, they're so busy taking care of what they got, because they got backed up with the weather, and the parks aren't.
Yeah, we get time for
They
this.
don't have time to do household things,
the other issue is a health issue.
Yeah,
With the tick season on us and the overabundance of ticks they're predicting this year. Plus, there's another disease connected with it. It's not just Lyme disease anymore. Lyme disease pales in comparison to this other one. This other one can kill you rather quickly, I guess. So I'm trying to remember the name of the thing. It's a strange name, but Whereas I think in Lyme disease, you have to have the tick on you for about 24 hours before it effectively transmits the disease. This one here, it's like 45 minutes or 15 minutes, I forget, it's not very long. So I'll have to look that up. So now you're actually looking at a health issue. I don't know if the Department of Health wants to get involved or not.
They don't want to get involved with fleas.
I don't know why we got them, except they want to make, well, never mind.
Like Dan says, there's gotta be a way somehow to compensate for the money to take care of those places.
It's not free, and it should be saddled on the village's back to take care of that property. When a bank takes it over and kicks somebody out, then they ought to realize there's a sidewalk maintenance law now, and there's,
There's a lien on those places, obviously, probably, you know,
Well, let's say we can
lien holder.
send the bills to these banks, but whether or not they'll pay them, I have no idea.
I think it's worthy at least to try
Mhm.
to send it, if there's a, place, because for the cost of a stamp, if you get a couple of them that starts, they may say, well, and if you hit them good, I mean, Scott and the boys are busy down there, and,
Yeah, say they got enough to do.
yeah, you ain't kidding. I mean, when we're behind and they're trying to get, Livingston Boulevard done last week, and they're behind, and then we gotta run around and do residentials, that's what Farrell or these other companies are there for, they're not,
I say we can hire them to do that, but again, the buck falls back on us.
yeah.
You got 3 days to get the stuff done.
Yeah, Friday's only
I
part of
mean, I was across the street, now I'm not starting, but,
Yeah.
and I'm not exaggerating, over to the,
No, it's growing fast.
Yeah, there's a couple of other
Oh, it's
places
gonna
in
get
town.
warm. Next couple of days, it's gonna shoot up another couple inches.
and
Yeah.
now it's just gonna look like, that's gonna look very nice either.
And then the beginning of next week, it's gonna be rainy, so they better get it done.
I mean, it's nice for the weekend, hopefully.
Anything else, there, Trustee Nagel? Or is it Chief Dunn, I guess?
Yeah, I think,
Anybody got any questions? The bushes, is that something you bring up now or what?
Bushes.
Anything up on that?
Bushes.
The ones they butchered down at Babcock.
Yeah, two different. Yeah, not to name names to embarrass the guys, but just leave it at Tom.
Someone from the school.
So I've been trying to catch him at a baseball game in Vista, but I caught him at the school today, and we talked for 20 minutes about it, and he's very apologetic. He's basically what happened that spurred his attention, which is something we've been talking about on and off downstairs and up here a couple times over the years. It's probably been a few years now. That the bushes are rather large down there, and you can hide behind them and commit crimes if you choose to. And they had put $200 or $300 at a concession stand in preparation of the new baseball season. And when they went down to open up one day, they found where someone had started to pry the locks off. So they had walked across Maury Avenue to say to a homeowner there that's also interested in school life, to say, what's the chances that, keep an extra eye on this for us? And she said, I'd love to, but I can't see the building. And coincidentally, on one of the buildings too, there was a kid on the roof last week, and she's like, I heard there was a kid on the roof, but you can see, I can't even see the roof because the bushes are so high. Well-intended good deed to make the building visible to people in the neighborhood that can keep an eye on it to keep the potential vandals down. So they cut the bushes back with that intent of good deed. And like I explained to them, good intent, great idea, but you gotta call somebody so we can coordinate, because it was just a bad time to have another load of brush during a week where we've already got plenty of brush.
Brush aside,
It's our
it's
property.
not theirs, and I'm not real happy about it.
So like I explained to them, in the future, that's something they need to coordinate, and
Because in my estimation, the bushes are now dead, because
At the
they're,
point, they should be pulled out now.
yeah, I mean, they've been hacked, they're in horrible shape now, I mean, if a kid ever crashes his bike, he'd become impaled on him.
that's why I went down last night and looked at them for exactly that purpose. When Scott got back, I was gonna talk to him to see if there's some way to either A, soften them, somehow to taper the,
Well, maybe he ought to replace them.
Well, the problem is, I don't think that there's any way to taper them, because they're
right.
good old notches of wood now, they're just hacked down. I mean, I get the purpose, and that's great, but there's a board up here, or at least stop in and talk with the highway superintendent to say, here's our issue, what do you think? It's just completely, in my estimation, inappropriate, not allowable. I mean, if somebody else went down there and started hacking things down, we'd be like, what are you doing?
Held in court.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, they would, they'd be in court. I mean, I don't know if the school is aware of what he did, but I know as one board member, I'm not real pleased with the fact that someone would just go into the park and take it upon themselves to hack bushes down.
If he wants to hack stuff, tell him to hack all that stuff along the creek.
Well, it was, if you think back a year or so, Scott had to go down there and clean up all the garbage alongside the creek that wasn't ours.
And some of that stuff's back there now.
Yeah, and it's,
Noticed that a week ago when I was walking out down through there.
I never usually see third baseline because I usually cut the long way around the park.
For the safety part of it, obviously,
They gotta-
it wasn't right. For the safety part of it, I think they should have taken out
At this point, I agree with you.
and replaced with something different. And we'll deal with something else at a later date, whatever, we'll keep it on the agenda. But as far as what we're gonna do about the people that did hack them,
Well, I can send an email to Mr. Aliotto, Dr. Aliotto.
I completely understand, and if someone had come to the village and said, hey, these are, something, would you have an issue with us taking them out? And you go and you survey it, and you say, yes or no or whatever, but now your hands are tied. Your bushes that have been there forever, that someone planted, that someone's taken care of and trimmed up, or,
Did we ever approve that hot dog stand being down there?
Oh boy, I have no idea.
I don't think we ever have. Technically, that's ours, not his.
well, there's also sheds that have popped up over there alongside the...
Oh, I know. I'm just saying that it's a public park. We're responsible for it.
In the 9 years I've been here, the tall booth up on stilts that Stephen Craig Schuster built, they came to the board, asked the board for permission, and then I gave them a building permit for it. I don't have any records of anything else down there.
Yeah, and the other one is, the other big building that's down there is the football one, and that was built when I was a kid, because I know that Eileen and Bill Blake were the ones that kind of spearheaded that with some other people, not just them.
I think that was coordinated with the village, though.
Yeah, that was all coordinated, so that building's theirs. But now I see there's sheds between that building and the park, And I get it. But the end result is you still gotta respect what else is there. And in my estimation, that was a complete disregard of anything to get down there and hack them bushes to make it look like. Now, hey, I'm not saying they were 100% great looking bushes to begin with.
And there's a right way and wrong way to do it.
There's a right way and a wrong way, 100% agree. And that was the wrong way.
bottom line is, for the safety part, I think we should.
And they can rip them out real quick, but the problem is what now happens when we go to yank them out, they get down there with the loader, they put a chain on there and they start lifting them, and let's say the roots are underneath the blacktop, the blacktop starts buckling, and now we've got ourselves a mess down there because someone decided to, I'm just thinking worst case scenario.
Yeah.
Might be the best thing is to saw them off ground level, and when Farrell's is in town doing stumps for us someplace else.
And we're gonna go spend more money on them because we just paid a bill for stump grinding here.
So, what's the bottom line?
Well, I'll have Scott take them out.
Have to come out, I mean, it's,
They gotta come out.
Yeah.
Can't,
I guess if he pulls it up and cracks the blacktop, let kind of guy who can seal it.
Well, they should be able to cut around that without having to dig up, just yank it out of the ground. I mean, they could probably get down there with the excavator and just hack around it. And
the guy who's gonna do the mowing's probably gonna be happy when they're gone.
Yeah.
Less to go around. It's just, this is not about the bushes, it's about the process. That's what's irritating.
Yeah, I mean, if we want to rip the bush out at the school,
There'd
we
be
would
issues.
certainly hear about it. I mean, it's,
Or if we take their pitching or batting nets down and throw them away, I'm sure we'd hear about that.
like I say, it's just a right and wrong way to do it.
Did
Okay.
you understand that? Did you convey that it was probably not the right?
I just left it that they needed to coordinate that kind of stuff with the village and whoever they wanted to use for a contact person, that, whether it be the village's office or my office or Scott's office, we would definitely get the message back to somebody else.
I think that just the athletic director wants to call. you know, go through that
Go
process.
through Scott. If
Yeah.
Scott approved it.
Yep.
The message will get relayed to whoever needed to be relayed.
I'll touch base with Scott tomorrow and with Dr. Alioto and express our displeasure with what happened.
Needs to stop from here on out, needs to stop, needs to be recorded, or...
You know, they need to coordinate it with us before they do anything down there. Okay. Of course, village courts, did we get all of them? Got one from Scott and one from,
We got both, yeah.
okay. I saw the one, but I don't recall the other. Just as a heads up, I received a letter from the Office of Court Administration, and I have to go ahead and do the audit once the year is up, which will be the end of this month. And I just usually go through it real quickly, and anybody else that wants to join in the fun of looking at checkbooks and court records is more than welcome to come on in and sit down, but don't all jump at once.
Sounds riveting.
Sounds.
Okay, budget, finance, and audit. Was that all you had, Mike?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Trustee Rittenhouse.
Says here in the retirement report discrepancies, and I'm not.
Yeah, Megan, you can probably update us on that a little bit.
Yeah, this was part of our state audit process. They had a lady come out that audited our retirement processes. So we did get a letter from New York State Local Retirement System here. I was just going to do them an email with an attachment and send it off to the board members, rather than discussing it here because it's, you know,
Yep,
it's
understood.
individual employees. That's all. Most of it's just administrative. We actually did really well on that audit, but there were just a few things.
We don't owe money?
that should be aware of.
Bottom line, do we owe money?
No.
Okay, perfect. I didn't know if someone was in the wrong one or we were gonna pay a bunch of money or something.
I was just,
No.
I was just,
Okay.
It's just administrative stuff.
yeah. I was just surprised we got that separate from the regular audit, so.
Well, we can't actually get like dinged, I don't even know what you call it, like a check.
Violated.
Yeah,
Violation, yeah.
violation. For this, it's just something that they do in addition.
Mhm.
They do it for all of their audits.
Yep.
And then they notify the retirement system what they think may be wrong. And then the retirement system will send out a letter telling us, hey, you need to check this. It doesn't necessarily mean that something is wrong. Like,
Yeah.
there's one on here that's was taken care of before the lady was even out. You know, stuff like that. So we just have to look into it.
When it
further.
comes time to discuss this and make the results public and everything, and when we get the rest of the report from the
Yeah.
comptroller's office, just have that available and we'll summarize that. Like, again, I don't want to get into the details, but we, you know, they get the general gist of what they found and what we've done to resolve them.
Yeah, we can include that. And we are looking, I mean, it's gonna be probably the middle of June before we see an auditor again. Our auditor is out on medical leave, if anyone wasn't aware of that.
Yeah, this is going to be a year before we finish this
So
thing.
the auditing.
Yeah, take their time.
The
They're old.
auditing manager has been trying to do what she can, in whatever time that she has, so she's been in contact with me a little bit, and we've been trying to get over, just set deadlines and get over to her electronically
And we might get our next
what she needs.
audit from Freed Maxit back before we ever hear anything from them.
It's very likely.
You would hope they would catch whatever the state's gonna tell us.
I guess that's one way about it, to see the effectiveness of it all. Although they're doing a little bit different.
This is different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Still funny.
Yeah, it is.
You'll be happy when that's over with though, won't you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very happy.
All right, end of the year spending?
Yes, just as a real quick comment, I mentioned it last week at the department head meeting, I believe, but if I didn't, I'll mention it tonight. We are down to the last month of the fiscal year, and we're in pretty good shape overall. You know, buy what you need to do the jobs for this department heads, but don't go
Bumpers.
overboard on it, you know, don't, if it isn't needed, we don't buy it. It's not frivolous spending, just because you have money left, but I'm sure all of you will do well with that, you always have. But just as a reminder, last year, we actually had to put a freeze on things other than critical stuff. This year,
That
we're
was
much,
water and sewer.
this year is much better, yeah, there was, yeah.
Last year we did the freeze on the water and sewer.
But we're in much better shape all the way around. I think one of the, which one is it? Is it water? It's a little tight? It's okay, but
Yeah,
it's,
but they're all,
we're all better than they had been in a long time.
they're all.
Which brings me down to reserves, and Megan and I still need to sit down and discuss that and get back with a recommendation.
And that'll be recommendations for the reserves from last year as well, correct?
Yes.
And we also have in the folder the 2017, 2018 non-union salaries and wages. Do we have to vote on that to
Yes.
approve it? No,
Yes,
okay.
please.
I don't know if I,
Yeah, they're in last week's folders.
yep. So,
Motion to accept them.
okay, we have a motion from trustee Rittenhouse to accept the salaries and wages for the non-union personnel. Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Second from trustee Zay. He's making up for not being here last week. Any questions, concerns, comments, whatever? Not hearing any. Trustee Nagel?
Aye.
Trustee Zay?
Aye.
Trustee Rittenhouse?
Aye.
And the mayor is an aye. Thank you, gentlemen. And you should all have in your folder by now a copy of the final budget for the year, with all the adjustments that you were concerned about.
It's been approved.
Yep, been approved. So this is just there for your information and to work off of as we go through the year. And now I'll turn it back over to you, sir.
The budget modifications, were in our folder tonight. I didn't know, if everyone had a chance to go down through them. I know with these, at the end of the year, there's quite a few. We talked about them a little bit last week. Norm wasn't here. I don't know, you want to go down through them? You want me to go down through them, whatever you want? Doesn't matter to me. I mean, they're there. Does anyone have any questions on them as they're read? I guess it would be easier to say. So I guess, make a motion, we accept the budget modifications as printed.
All right. We have a motion from trustee Rittenhouse to approve the modifications as presented by the clerk treasurer. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Second from trustee Nagel. Discussion. Okay. Trustee Rittenhouse.
Aye.
Trustee Zay.
Aye.
Trustee Nagel.
Aye.
And the mayor's an aye as well. Motion passes 4-0.
Special buildings, wastewater treatment plant, capital project with composting, there's none. Housing rehab grant, Cassidy Underwood for 13 Siler Street, final payment, $1,200. Zero Draft USA for 36 Maury, energy audit, $350. Environmental EDU for 36 Maury Ave, lead risk assessment, $535. Motion to accept those special billings.
Okay, a motion from trustee Rittenhouse to accept the special billings. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Second from trustee Zay. Discussion? Okay, trustee Nagel?
Aye.
Trustee Zay?
Aye.
Trustee Rittenhouse?
Aye.
And the mayor's an aye. Thank you very much.
Under bills through the general, paid checks number 16-147 through 16-160 in the amount of $48,527.39. We audited the checks in the amount of $65,341.68. Under the water, we paid checks 1149 through 1153 for $37,102.24. We audited the checks in the amount of $43,364.31. Under sewer, paid checks 998 through 1002 in the amounts of $45,704.54. And we audited checks in the amount of $66,589.33. Motion to accept.
We have a motion from trustee Rittenhouse to accept the bills for the general water and sewer funds. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Second from trustee Zay. Discussion? Hey, trustee Nagel?
Aye.
Trustee Zay?
Aye.
Trustee Rittenhouse?
Aye.
And the mayor's an aye. Thank you very much.
Under ban and bond payments, there's none. MedX billing account payments, Livingston County EMS for $2,700. Livonia EMS for $225. MedX invoice 2017-05 for $1,170. Village of Dansville payment for $7,510.20. And the Dansville ambulance payment for $11,265.29. Motion to accept.
Motion from trustee Rittenhouse to approve the MedX billing account payments. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second from trustee Nagel. Any comments, discussion? Okay, trustee Nagel,
Aye.
trustee Zay,
Aye.
trustee Rittenhouse.
Aye.
And the mayor's an aye. Thank you very much.
The only last thing I have under budget, finance, and audit I did notice that there was and this will probably be better for Scott, but there was a bill for Samples Corners, the water district. There was some mapping and stuff down there at Mills Corners. I was saying Samples Corners, Mills Corners. Whose responsibility is that with these water districts? I mean, I know that we went out and we fixed these, and I know we've discussed it, but we've never really come down with it. I was always under the assumption, I could be wrong, but the water districts take care of themselves. Now, I'm wondering how that happens, because we send them a bill for use based on water and sewer, and that's for usage. But as for the piping underground, that's the water districts. So I was talking with a gentleman who lives in a different township, and he said that he was telling me, we were talking water and sewer bills and stuff, we were comparing, and he says, well, we have to pay because they've upgraded the pipe within our district. So their bill went up because they had to pay for something. And I'm wondering, is that how it should be? Is that, or, and I don't know, this is all just me asking questions and, brainstorming. If work is done within a water district, and I don't know how they're set up 100% outside the village, if water's done on that line, should that work be billed to that water district? Because it's not the village.
It depends on what the agreement is for the water district.
So I guess I'm trying to figure out, like,
We don't have a water sewer district per se in the sense that it's a separate governing body like a fire district.
yeah.
This isn't.
So we don't own those lines, but if the line blows, we go out, we dig it up, we pay for it. And I know we talked a couple of these, well, does the town pay for some of this? Do they provide us a little bit? But I think in the end, I'm just trying to figure out, because there was a heavy amount that we paid for mapping out there at Mills Corners, whatever it was. I don't know exactly, but it was a hefty bill, and I'm just trying to figure out, is that really the village's responsibility to pay all that money for that mapping?
It would depend on what the agreement says.
Do we have them agreements written?
I don't know, because that was done way before I came on. That was done back when they were doing the Exit 4 project.
And I just wanted to bring that to the forefront, because I know that, Scott may know more about this, it may be in the water and sewer laws, but I think that should be
It's not
something.
in the water sewer laws.
Or in the sewer, wouldn't be in those?
It would be a separate law or a separate agreement altogether. And,
Just wondering where we would even find
Yeah.
those agreements.
well, it should be somewhere in our files. I would think the town would have a copy if we don't, but I can't imagine why we wouldn't, but, well, I can't
Have
imagine
you
why
ever
we
seen anything
wouldn't.
like that?
I think I did find an agreement for one of our districts. I don't remember what it
The
was.
most recent one is with West Sparta to do the Woodsville extension out there for the water line out there. And that might give you an idea. Now, here's the critical thing. The line out for Exit 4, I don't believe, now it may now be, but that's up to the town how they work that. Could be the same line that's feeding them, but there used to be a separate line out there. It serves Gibson Street. But I think, closed it down, and then they may be tapped off of that new line. And I'm not sure how that's worked. We'll have to talk with Scott. But there is an agreement, or there should have been, because they did form a water district. The sewer district, I don't think was formed. Certainly there was no work ever done on it, because they never built Exit 4. And that was supposed to come up parallel to the creek up frontage road that way. But that was back, when was that? I want to say that may have occurred under Barry's administration, so it's going to be a while.
I guess I would just like to see us throw that on the action item list, is to try to research something on that. Just because them lines outside are aging as well, along with everything on the inside. And hey, if a line breaks up on side street, we're gonna go up, we're gonna fix it. Not that we wouldn't go fix that, but where's the responsibility line? I would really think that we should know, or at least be able to say,
The
okay, there's a
people-
water
The
district.
people on the line should pay for it.
Well, that's what I'm getting at. So let's say this out here, if we had to do this, and if we had to do $1,200 worth of surveying or whatever to fix the water district or whatever that is, that should be levied off on that district, as long as that's what the agreement says. So I guess that's what I'm looking at. So
We need to find the agreement.
how many different water districts are there, do we
There are
know?
only 2. There are a number of operations out there, but there are only 2 official water districts.
So the other ones, can we make a district and put them in a district, or now that
No,
they're...
we don't make it, the town does it.
So, let's say the line that goes to Perry's Way up there, that line, something happens to it. We go up and we fix it. Our recourse back would be to take care of that.
Well,
And I'm using that as an example.
one way we could do it, I would suspect, is just increase the rates.
But then we would increase the rates for everyone in the township.
No, not just, you could just, well, I don't know. But again, we're going to have to take a look at it and have a lawyer look at it. I'm not sure how.
Just because, that was a decent sized bill, and if other these
Where's
things
Mills
pop up.
Corners?
Huh?
Where's Mills Corners?
Oh, where the old hot dog stand was, past the
Up by
past
Freddy's.
hospital?
Oh.
Out there by
that's,
Folks Hole Road.
That's the Exit 4 project out there?
Well, the water line coming down through there that
Yeah.
was put in at the time they were doing exit 4, before it got put on halt. Yeah, that's,
I got you, I just need to update.
And there was some surveying, if you'd seen that in there was some surveying done and some mapping and stuff that came in with the bill, and it just had piqued my curiosity as to, that's saddled to the overall everyone, but that's actually outside the village, and if that's in a water district,
I would
does that
say-
bill get split up amongst them?
yeah, I would say it goes on the bill for the people who are attached to that line only. So you'd have to determine who's attached to it.
And then their bill goes up based
Their
on that.
bill, they'll go up accordingly. If the town doesn't want to do anything else, we could do that.
You know, because that's a bill that all the village residents are paying for when, you know, it's not in the village.
That's why we can charge higher rates for out of town.
That's not a bad idea.
So and like I was saying, I was talking to somebody who was paying more because there was improvements on a line in their district. And it got split up amongst all of them. And so that made me think, well, we've discussed when the Cummingsville pipe broke down there, we went down there and fixed it, footed most of the bill for it.
I'm trying to say you'd like to see the districts have their own water and sewer, not a bill, but a rate. Different rates than the village has.
Well, they
Well, they already do.
They already do,
What they do.
Yes.
yeah.
But it's just
Take care
in
of that.
village and out of village. It's not by district because not everybody outside the village is in a district, not a legal district. They're just on our system because they've never, over the years, gotten either agreements or formed districts. And that's the responsibility of the town, not the village. And I suspect the reason why is, because you got to bring in lawyers and everything else. It's going to cost them some money.
Well, the end result is if that line breaks out there and the water's just rushing out, the village, in my estimation, would go out and shut that district off until it's fixed. And the town guys would actually have to go in and fix the line. And, well, I'm saying, and then we turn the
Whoever
water
got
back
there
on.
first.
Hmm?
Whoever got there first would fix it. That would be it.
Well, yeah, and I don't think.
Because if the town-
And they're not capable of doing it. They don't have anybody on the town side that's capable of handling distribution lines.
Which means then they would owe the village the back pay because them are village people that are being paid out of the village budget, out of them water and sewer funds.
Because they have to have a license to work on those lines. I don't
That's
know of any.
fair. That's fair, what you're saying, you know. for-
Well, that's what needs to also go into the new law, if we ever get it.
It's just open for speculation. I don't want to hold the meeting up tonight, but it was just, I had seen that bill. It piqued my curiosity as to the billing end of that and how do you bill that?
Okay, moving right along, Public Works, trustees A.
Water and sewer,
Robin?
I'm only giving it to you because Robin's not here, yeah.
Let's see, we had a water supply vulnerability assessment.
Yes, I have contacted MRB to see what can be done. I got a quick response back from Bill Davis up there that they could do it. They have other clients. This is something new that just came out. I just got the notification yesterday that by, I forgot the date on this. This one is the end of the year. But we have to get started by June 15th. They're going to throw out there. I think it's the middle of June on an assessment. Could be June 1st for all I know. We have to take a look at the vulnerability from a cyberspace, obviously, point of view, given that our system does run on a computer up there. So that will be more on that probably be coming. I'm not sure. MRB does have their own cyber people, so hopefully they're no technology people, so hopefully they keep it in-house, but they may have to go out of house, and I think that may be a decision we'll have to take a look at. And again, without Scott here, I can't answer where we stand on the Pilots Association water situation down there.
Do they have a breakfast on Memorial Day weekend?
Yes.
I don't think they're having it this year.
Fly in there.
I don't think it's on the
Because
schedule.
of the water?
No, I don't know why. Because Barry said last year they didn't have it, and they're not having it this year.
Well, you know,
And
I
I
went
heard
by
that
there the other day, and there was a tractor trailer backed up to the front doors, and the doors were open, it was right full of, I don't know what they're storing in there, whether somebody stored stuff inside the hangar or what.
Well, it is a hangar.
No, I realized that, but it wasn't airplanes.
Well, as Barry said, that they've all but, 2 years, and this will be the second year they've been involved in the Dogwood Festival.
Yeah, John Vanderbilt always gets a temporary sign permit for it. Last year he didn't, and this year he did.
Yeah, I haven't seen one. Just say Barry talked to the Rotary Club today and said that they weren't involved this year. So I don't know what's going on
Remember that
there.
flying breakfast was big back when they had the air show, and people actually flew in for breakfast.
Mhm.
I know Jimmy,
It was actually neat.
It was a big deal back in the day.
Oh, you ain't kidding.
Apparently,
We were there every year.
Jimmy Welch is gonna run that, he still runs that motorcycle thing that day during Memorial Day week. No, that's Dogwood weekend. He runs that. This is, Dogwood is gonna have a breakfast.
That's what this is, Dogwood
I
Weekend.
thought you said Memorial Day.
Yeah, I was speaking wrong, my bad.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I knew it was always Dogwood weekend.
They have a motorcycle ride too that leaves from the airport. Because usually everybody went down and had breakfast and they go on the ride. So I don't know. I haven't heard about breakfast.
Okay, and just as a heads up for those, for trustees, Bob Infantino was approved last week as the filtration plant chief operator. I assume everything is going well up there. You heard anything from Bob?
Everything's going well.
Scott's not here, so can I ask him this, likewise with this issue on John Murphy on the 14th. The last I heard, he would be here. So, and discuss about the towers. And with that, now I'll turn it back over to Trustee Zay.
You know, we skipped over the one, the composite work boot for employees.
Because I don't have any more information than I had last week.
Perfect.
I'll throw it at Scott tomorrow. We'll get back to
We
everybody.
can discuss it next month.
Yeah, probably. It wasn't a burning issue, let's put it that way.
Well, I'm just wondering, is it contractual?
No, not that I'm aware of. I'd have to look at the contract, but I don't think there's anything in there that requires it.
Gloves and all them things, are they all contractual?
I don't know about gloves, I know like.
We spend a lot on those.
I believe like eye equipment is specified. I mean, gloves would be part of, just your
I
day-to-day.
think gloves. I would,
Gloves, hearing safety
For
devices.
the job, you would need to provide gloves, but there
No,
are.
safety glasses
they
as
might
far
give them
as,
something towards work boots, most places do.
We don't have have that down there. I usually, if we're gonna, we don't, it's like the police department has accounts where they get X number of dollars a year. That down there is not the same,
They get
correct?
something additional towards like eyeglasses, like safety eyeglasses,
Yeah.
but that's, I believe, that's the only
Yeah.
additional, thing in the contract.
If
that
they
is
don't wear
just
glasses, they
something
just get the old
right.
plastic safety glasses.
Right.
Okay. I've already sort of brought this one up on FEMA, the first one there, so,
Yeah, we talked about that one.
yeah.
And then the working foreman, I know that was a discussion.
Yeah, and again, I was waiting for Scott to see if he had any feedback, but he's not here this evening. And the other item is the lights over here that were off for so long, now they don't go off. Now they're on permanently.
Which lights?
These lights right along Clara Barton Street out here in front of the park, on both sides of the street.
Oh.
They're on continuously, which is, money down the drain again, because we pay the electric bill, so we gotta get NICEAG to find out what the problem is.
Scott had mentioned the department head meeting, if I recall, they both need new eyes.
Yeah, but we need to get it done rather than keep waiting.
And I had stopped down and talked to the guys in regards to the working foreman, and they were all, the ones I talked to were in agreement that he was a good guy for the job.
Okay.
Parks and Recs,
It's yours.
let's have it. Summer hirings.
Well, the ad's out, I believe.
Thursday.
Yep. I mean, it's going out. Anything on planners you want to talk about? We
I
got,
still have a couple of vacants, if anybody wants one, Mayor Vogt, I think you mentioned you might take one.
I seen something on Facebook today that there was some openings, and I see there was a lot of chatter on there, so maybe there'll be people calling in.
Oh, I don't know who put it on Facebook.
Jen Louise had put it on Facebook that, there was a couple of open planners.
Louise.
I don't know.
Louise.
Yeah, I have.
She's my cousin, Jen White's what I know her as.
I have two for sure.
Is that, what's his name?
They have three.
What was the name of that show?
In most,
The big one, Louise, here I come.
Sorry, we digress there.
most people won't do them until after this weekend, just as a heads up,
Yeah.
so.
Which I can't blame them at all.
And then just make, if you're talking with anybody, reservations need to be made through me. It's great that everyone else gets involved, I just don't want to accidentally give away somebody's plan.
Let me know next week when I get back and I'll go from there.
Okay.
If you could put like jalapenos and tomatoes in there,
You could put a garden in there.
moving on.
I toyed with maybe
No.
10 flyers and just said something simple, like maybe the heading would say feet, watch your feet, please don't step in the planters, volunteers are work in progress. Hand them out parade day at the corner of Clara Barton and Main and asking them to just pass it left. And read it, pass it left. And see if it makes the way down the end of the street. Might be a dumb idea, but it might just catch me.
Hang on, you lost me there. No, what was this again? Because you lost me.
Just an 8 by 10 piece of paper, it says feet. Because as soon as people read it and see feet, they're gonna be like looking at their feet. It's gonna say, watch your feet, please don't step in the planters. Volunteers are progressing to something to that effect, and pass it left. And just pass it down the street and let them self-serve themselves.
Are you gonna laminate?
Nope, it might make 10 people, it might make it all the way to the end. It's gonna be.
And they might just make it to the nearest trash bin.
Planter.
Half cup, half full, I think.
Do you sit up at night and think of this stuff?
You don't have to, it's comfortable.
Moving right along.
I think it's a good
I'm gonna
idea.
give the world.
Yeah, I'm interested to see how that.
I just wanna see what happens. It's kinda like the,
If it works, then we may be able to get more of the business owners to plant
Right, ahead of
before
time.
this weekend.
Exactly.
Because they were discouraged.
Before this weekend next year.
mine's
Yeah,
planted.
before this
I'm
weekend
taking
next
the risk.
year.
I'm taking the risk.
Yeah, okay.
He's gonna have an officer staged there in that corner.
One on each side. Okay. Next one, Scott still isn't here, so no point in talking about that. Williams Park projects, prep for Memorial Day. We've got I got a letter the other day from the Commander Carey over at the Legion, and they're looking for, obviously, people for us to clean up the park before Memorial Day. We still have another week. I told them we'd take care of it. Again, it's on us.
I saw in the bills we ordered some more doggy bag dispensers.
Mm-hmm.
I know it was one of Dan's.
We like to hope that they're being
Dan's
used
little
for their
projects
appropriate,
there.
like to hope
They even-
that, well, we got some new.
Why do you gotta try to get me
There's,
going?
there's some up, I've seen them.
I went and walked around today and I couldn't see any, so.
What's that?
There's two.
It's the ends of the
Yeah.
Main Street.
There's 6 on Main
Oh,
Street.
on Main Street, I thought you meant
And then there's
Williams
one down at
Park.
Babcock
There's one
Park,
Babcock.
wherever you walk in.
I'm sorry, I thought you meant Williams Park.
Not yet.
Now they just go where they want.
That's not a small dog.
No.
No, it is not.
Okay, and bush cuttings, we've already discussed that issue down at Babcock Park. Moving on to technology, website design proposals. Everybody get a chance to look at all of that material.
Yeah, it looked like a lot of Chinese to me, 'cause I don't know much about websites.
Okay, Megan, you got the floor.
Got one you like?
Well, no, you took,
Well, at the end, we said we were gonna ask you which one you thought, which one was most
Pick
workable.
one you like.
I think I gave it back to the mayor.
okay, well, I'll start it off and you can chime
Well,
in.
I can mention the two that, if you want, that I said to you earlier that I would appreciate if the
Yeah.
board chose between. The first one is virtual towns and schools, and the second one is revise. Just a couple of notes. I definitely think revise would have more to offer, but either way, both companies are willing to create, whatever they want to make their own.
And the price on each, virtual town, school?
There's a little difference. Virtual towns and schools is the one time, the first year basically, to get the project up is $4,500. And the annual cost is almost $2,000, $1,950. Revise is $6,900 and $1,900 for the annual fee. Now you get the Civic Plus, just to give you some background on the others. That's $14,000, although you can break it up into different increments over the years. It's $14,806 for the one-time expense and an annual fee of $3,200. Yeah.
Well, thank you.
It's a good program and everything. We looked at their sites, but it's outside our price range. So we sort of threw that one aside right then and there. There's all support from $4,500. There's nothing under annual. However,
They're gonna be out of business before the first.
our concern, well, we had some concerns there that it's a local organization. It's a father and son operation here in Dansville. I'm not sure they're quite ready for what we really want yet.
Where is virtual out of?
Virtual, I believe, is out of Massachusetts.
And revise?
Revise is out of Michigan. Now, Virtual does have somebody in Rochester.
And virtual is probably, well, of the two that you said that you were looking at, did you, between virtual and revise, did you have one that you preferred?
No.
And they both could
They're
provide?
pretty comparable.
When I searched both, I went and did a search just for the company name, just a Google search. They both had good results. They both popped up, number 1 and number 2, which is a good sign.
Is anyone else
If
locally
they have good
using
search
them?
results, we should have good search results using that.
No one else is using them?
I don't know.
I'm trying
I
to
don't
rem-
know. I didn't go through any references for them. I think the mayor did at one point.
At one point I did, and I can't, well, actually, it's under Civic Plus, it was the county's using them, or going to be using them.
Civic Plus, that's the local one here? The father and son one?
No, Civic
Oh, that
Plus
was
is the
also
one,
for-
But
they're
that's
out
the
of-
14,000?
yeah.
Yeah.
They're using them for something, I forgot what it was, because I just read it in the...
Now, what's the lead time on that? Like, if we were to decide to say, hey, we want to go ahead, because, we've done this before with the whole alarm thing, and then once we started down the road, we figured out
There's,
the brakes.
there is a
Yeah,
phase.
there's a few different phases. I mean, depending on when we start, it's gonna take some time, because even if we approve it now, don't forget, the tax season is June 1st. That is all I do during June, and just try to stay above water with everything else.
Right,
So,
here's
you know, so-
virtual towns and schools, design meetings, 2 to 3 weeks. Design and architecture, that's another 2 to 3 weeks. Site implementation, 1 to 2 weeks. Content development, 4 to 6 weeks. User training, 1 week. Website deployment, 1 week. So you're looking at 8, 9, 10, maybe 16 weeks roughly. That's
Budget-wise, is this in a budgeted area?
Yes,
And the money's set aside?
yes.
Because this was discussed back when I was watching, coming in for the handful of months. This was discussed, and I'm sure it was discussed before then. So this is well over 2 years now in the making. And I think that the only way it's gonna get done is if we just kind of do it.
Yep.
And so it would be if you are looking at these two and you don't have one that you like better, obviously we would go with the one who's a little cheaper. Seems like it's 1,900 is right around the annual fee.
I have one more thing I just need to point it out to you guys. It doesn't bother me, I don't care. But just to point out, Virtual Towns and Schools, they are not an email provider as well. Revise is an email provider, but I don't think we're gonna use website email anyways if we move forward with trying to go paperless. We're going a different route for that anyways. Plus, if we went with Revise, we're looking at like $900 a year for up to 20 email addresses, and we could do other things, way cheaper. So to me, none of that matters, but I was just trying to pick out differences between all of the contracts, and that was a difference. Just to.
I've heard of this, we did something else, there was something with this Virtual Towns and Schools, wasn't there?
So they've done one website, well, there's two websites I've looked at in New York that they've done. One was Weagle, down by Binghamton.
Yep.
And the other one was, some place on Hudson it's called, I can't remember.
Are they nice?
Yeah, they look halfway decent, yeah. I mean, they'll custom them to what we want, so it's,
What do you
Is the
think? Because
mayor
I mean, I don't want to bat this thing around for months. I mean, I think that if we want to move forward, we move forward and go.
As the mayor mentioned, it's nice that towns and schools have somebody local, right?
I make a motion, we go forward with Virtual Towns and Schools for website design and get the ball rolling.
have a motion from trustee Rittenhouse to go forward with Virtual Towns and Schools as the website designer. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
And I have a second from trustee Nagel. Okay. Any further discussion?
So Megan likes this one? It's good?
Have you been here for the last 5 minutes?
It was, but you guys are fooling me with all these names.
I mean, I can't promise anything.
There's a lot.
There's a lot.
Hey, at this point, it's been kicked around, in my estimation, for almost 2.5 years that I've been coming to these.
Yeah.
So what's the deal with that going
Oh, we're still discussing.
Still discussion.
with the, not the laptop, but what do you call them?
The tablet.
Notebook,
That's
tablet.
that's later. That's in a
We're
minute.
going to get to that.
Okay,
That's next.
I thought that
This
was
isn't directly related.
a combination with that.
It's just tech.
Kind
Yeah.
of.
This is under technology.
All right,
Yeah.
let me get on with it.
But the things I looked at besides price, obviously, was what they call content management system, backup and security. Virtual Towns and Schools uses an outfit out of, they store it, well, wait a minute. Not store. They host it out of Virginia. They store it in Nevada, so I guess you don't have to worry about too many floods out in Nevada or
Not right
fires. So, anyway, so we also looked at tech support, marketing and ranking, that they would try to, get us to where the site is a top-ranked one, people will be visiting it.
Is this something we can get through the budget this year, so it's in this budget?
It's in the current
Either one,
one.
because it's in the current budget, but we also put it in next year's budget.
Yeah.
So I don't know, we'll have to.
6.5, one dozen the other, I guess, right?
See. If we wanted to have them invoices this month, and because I believe we're obligated to pay a percentage up front. Have them give us a May invoice, pay that percentage, and then we'll have a little left over in the line item next year.
Yeah, I'd have to check on theirs if it was up front or if it was before we go online.
Because if we did pay some of that this year, it might not be a push to get the equipment to go paperless if we go that way, because right now it's kind of a push to get it in on this year because we budgeted it for this year but not next year. So if we paid for more of the website this year, we could use some of those funds for tablets or whatever, if we wanna
Yeah,
continue
if we have
to
the
work down
funds.
there, so that we don't rush into anything like that.
The other thing is critical too on websites is to make sure that they're responsive to mobile devices like iPads and notebooks and, cell phones and stuff like that. And they check on that one. So, that's just some of the stuff. I went through their modules. I think they have most of the modules we'll want. So it really gets down to putting it all together in one big package. We'll be having meetings on that soon enough. So, any other questions, concerns? If not, Trustee Rittenhouse?
Aye.
Trustee Zay?
Aye.
Trustee Nagel?
Aye.
And the mayor's an aye. Good. Start moving forward into the 21st century.
It's long overdue.
Okay. I can notify them, well, I probably won't get to it tomorrow, but when I get back, but we'll figure out when we would like them to start. Obviously, we want to wait till after taxes are taken care of.
Like I said, if we get some of that
We can at
build
least get
through.
like the paperwork done right, I mean, we can start
Yeah.
that type of stuff.
Yep. Yeah, for
It's weird when you call a company and be like, but can you send us an email? We don't want you to start right away, but we need that bill. They'll be like, what?
Here, any favorite question?
Okay, now let's go right over to going paperless.
Okay.
You gotta
so-
answer this one.
Yeah, I know.
You're the one that did all the
This is my
research.
project, I know. So we're, as you all know already, we're researching tablets. The quote that I had provided, when we started, it was a year ago when we started this. So what we came up with then was the laptops. So I got an updated quote for that. And they are a little more expensive, than some of the tablets that you can get. I talked with Hurricane again and said, hey, could you guys quote me a few options on tablets? And they said anything that they resell for tablets are going to be more expensive than the laptops, so we're better off just buying that.
Going commercial.
Yeah, from someone else. So I don't own a laptop or a tablet personally, so I don't have a lot of experience with them. So if anybody else has more experience, I'll take all of the input that I can get. I do have a few, different prices, different options. Here, I was going to work on compiling some more and then just put it together in an email for everybody so that you guys can look at them, maybe click on the links and do it that way. Most of the tablets do come with a keyboard option now. And I was thinking that we would go with like a 10-inch. I don't think we want anything smaller than that.
Yeah, when I had actually thought tablets, I originally just thought tablets would be cheaper than laptops.
But
So when you were like, they
that
were
is working out
just
to
not
be
through
true,
Hurricane.
just not through Hurricane, that's all.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because that was what I originally thought. Well, I mean, we're just
So it's
looking.
just that rather than relying on them to do the research, we're gonna do it.
Okay.
That's okay.
Now, would Hurricane ever give us like an idea, like this is what we have, and then you can look and say what they have, and then go see what that would be through a different. provider or-
Yeah, I mean, I have a pretty good idea of what they would, I know we should go with the Windows operating system. Just from talking with them in the past, because it'll be compatible with
Everything else we got.
Because you can find some tablets that are less expensive, but then they run weird operating systems like Marshmallow or stuff like that, like phones. But I mean,
Chinese for me.
does
I don't
everyone
understand
agree
it.
though that we should go with like a 10-inch? I definitely don't think that we should go any smaller. You guys are
I
going
agree.
to decide what you're looking at.
We're all older now.
I have a 10-inch tablet with keyboard, and you can detach it or attach it. I
Yeah.
could bring it in, it's a Windows operating
Oh, if
system.
you
I could
could.
bring it in and you could see it.
I would love to see
Trust
it.
me, you don't want to go smaller unless you want to wear like 3 pair of magnifying glasses all at the same
Would this
time.
just be like for department heads? Like,
Right now, just board
Yeah,
members.
board
oh,
members.
board members?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, at this point, board members, and I think, Megan, I would.
Yeah, well-
So when she was up here, she would have all of her stuff, but
Mhm.
otherwise, a lot of the reports are already sent in.
Because like I had commented back on the email is that, the chief has in his office a computer. Scott would have a computer in his office for the sharing. But while they're here, they wouldn't need,
Yeah, the way we can avoid having these big, thick folders full of paper we're all gonna throw out.
Tablets is fine, I guess, you can do quite a lot of this.
I can tell you,
No
my
problem
finish
school,
with
you know,
the
I mean,
keyboard,
but
you guys
can't download.
would like it. It would
Right.
be nice. I can bring it in so you can see that.
Yeah, I don't know, and the only reason why I even brought up tablets, I was just thinking economical wise.
Oh, I definitely agree, and I did find, one that I was looking at was a Nextbook Flex. I don't know if anyone feels like looking it up. But it's it's $130, so it's very inexpensive, which is very good.
I think we
would
need to
just
look at the
question-
ratings on
I would
these.
just question, I've been looking at all of the ratings, and
Okay.
it gets good ratings.
Okay.
But I guess I would just question, I don't know, the durability, we want, whatever we get, we want it to last, and you guys are gonna be taking it back and forth at least a couple of times. They're gonna be riding around in your cars and stuff like that, so, I don't know, whether it's, I'm not sure. Or we could get one
Test it.
and test it out.
I mean, it's not like it's
For a little
that
bit.
expensive where
Um,
you can't test
I
the
could
value.
start using it while I set up all of our share folders and that type of thing, pass it around.
I mean, I like that idea because for that amount of money, you're not going all in on something, and you can say, hey, look, this is pretty easy to use, and we think that this would be good. And I would be inclined to make to go ahead with that purchase.
I like that idea.
I do too, because why not test something? I mean, if it's $139 as compared to testing out something that's $700, you can test it, evaluate it, and if it's junk, you can be like,
Okay. Use it till it breaks.
I would be in favor of that.
Yeah, so
The
get
Nextbook
one and try it
Flex
out.
is
Just
good.
make sure it's,
Is that what you have as a,
Mine is the first version of the Nextbook. I've had mine for 3 years.
and it still works good?
Yeah. It's got Windows
I-
7, it's...
If we need a motion, I make that motion, but I think that we go ahead with the test and
I would
evaluate.
just say go get the test one and go smell it.
It's within the procurement policy, the purchase would be, so I can just get
well,
it.
we're trying it anyway, it's a test run, so yeah, it's an experiment. If it works, it works.
Here's the trick. Get the added, zippered closed case to put it in. And then mine's rides around in my car and everything.
I found them are the most expensive parts of those things. Buying the case to save them.
Yeah.
They really are. I mean, you go buy like an iPad, and I don't have one, but
Yeah, sleep.
and they're the expensive. Well, the whole thing's expensive, but yeah, I mean, inexpensive is what I would
Relatively
say.
speaking.
Not like
$29.
because when I see the 700 whatever
Maybe more
dollars.
than that.
Okay.
Because if I break one at $139, I just replace my own. No.
You want to say anything about the 365 or the PDF converter?
The Office 365 will go along with the tablets once we convert to those. That'll allow us to have the sharing capabilities. And then also, because the package that we would need, and that's on that quote that had the laptops. So that is what the cost is there. Hurricane gets a better cost than I would. To go along with that, because it's a package we have to get anyways, we'll also get email with that. And my contact at Hurricane Technologies says we can keep our email addresses, so at dansvilleny.us, and they can help us transition to that. It would just be through Office 365, because right now it's through Digital Towpath. And obviously eventually we'll drop that when we drop the website. And then also, so that we can start, so that everyone can start complying with the policy that we have in place.
In Office 365, that's the operating system, right?
No, Windows would be the operating system in the
Okay.
laptops. Office 365, that's Microsoft, Word, Excel,
Oh, so
That's
it's
the
Windows.
program. It's
the
Windows.
program.
Okay.
Yeah. And it would be, it's internet-based.
I'm not familiar with it, so.
Yeah, so I had looked at, and I still have the information from originally, from when I looked at all this stuff. last year, I looked at a bunch of different options for sharing files. And Dropbox is good too, but 365 gave us everything we needed versus having to install the Microsoft Word and Excel, plus subscribe to Dropbox, plus get email, you know, just.
So do we need to do anything to, I mean, if you're gonna test and evaluate, do we need to get that? Or do we need a motion on anything?
No, not yet.
Okay.
And then on the PDF converter, as we're moving forward with all of this, we had a quote on that too. And does anyone have their, oh, here it is.
And if I could say something, I mean, at
Yeah.
$139, I mean, if the other department heads at that cost, I mean, I wouldn't be afraid to throw one for all the department heads too. That way, if they were up here and they wanted to have their stuff, I mean, I was just looking originally like at that expensive thing. I was like, well, are they would they really?
No.
But for that price, I wouldn't have any problem when we come time to include the rest of the department heads into it if they wanted, if they so
Maybe
chose.
buy enough and we'll get another discount.
But only when we were looking at the expensive one, I was like, well,
Yeah,
is it really
no, I
necessary
understand.
evil? But I mean, at
Gives us-
$139, you're like, I would look at saying, you know, to the rest of the department heads, hey,
Do you think you'd want?
yeah,
So the PDF converter, this is an old price, but it's probably still pretty close. The one that I had selected, it was $112 at the time. I was thinking, that was on this sheet here, and I was personally thinking, which I mean, it doesn't, I guess it doesn't really matter if somebody else wanted it on their computer too, but a lot of times we have a need to take a PDF document and convert it into a Word document. And all of our departments, right guys, all of our departments have that issue. So that's why it's been a topic of conversation for such a long time, and it's a really low expense.
why don't we move forward with it then?
I think we should just get it. And
Need a motion?
we don't need a motion, but it
Do
was
it.
something that was up for discussion at the time.
I think for that price, it's a cost of doing business. If you need it,
I
get it.
agree.
That's from
Okay,
just trustee Dan.
so, and then if all of the other, if it worked out
$112
for all of the other department heads, I was just gonna put it on my computer. If they need something converted, it takes me 2 seconds, I can just convert it and send it over to them.
Do it.
But,
We
you
talked
know,
about
if something different, you know, if it's a pain dealing with me or whatever, and you guys wanna get it, then.
Well, there may be stuff too that could be confidential, you don't want, it shouldn't be given to other department heads. I mean, say the chief has something.
Yeah, I mean, if it's something that turns out the chief needs to get it for him, it's $112 or whatever, I mean.
Let's start it, we can start it and just see how it goes.
Yeah.
I think so far the things we've talked about have just been silly,
It's
simple
just
stuff
forms
they
that you
wanted
need to
done.
fill in, so it would go to me before it got the confidential stuff.
Okay.
So, okay. Thanks.
Because these are all things that have been batted around for a while. I mean, I think that for the cost, we just move forward so you guys
Yeah.
can do business a little cleaner and easier down there.
Thank you.
Okay, anything else under technology? I think we've covered a lot. All right, unfinished business. Discuss and vote on a resolution accepting the home award. Megan already talked about that, and it would also
Making you the.
make me the, basically the, I guess, the administrator of the thing. Or at least,
Authorizing you to execute the contract.
there you go.
I'll make that motion.
All right, a motion from trustee Rittenhouse. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second from trustee Zay. Discussion. Probably have already had that. Okay, trustee Nagel?
Aye.
Trustee Zay?
Aye.
Trustee Rittenhouse?
Aye.
And the mayor's an aye. Motion passes 4-0. Moving on to new business. And we've actually already done this, or no, we didn't, did we?
No, you did.
We talked about it. We voted, right?
Yeah, we already
Yeah,
did
I
that.
thought we did.
Yep.
Yep, got ahead of my, got down twice.
They already approved.
Wanted to make sure we approved it this time. Okay, and the next item is discuss and vote on authorizing bookkeeper Brian McElroy to make end-of-the-year budget modifications.
We do this every year, don't we?
Yes.
Yes.
Motion.
Motion from trustee Rittenhouse to do so, second from trustee Zay. Discussion? Okay, trustee Nagel.
Aye.
Trustee Zay.
Aye.
Trustee Rittenhouse.
Aye.
And the mayor's an aye. Bingo.
Mango. Mango.
Want to go over the summary of action list items, sir?
Yes, I added just 2 from tonight. We'll just reach out to Scott and have him contact Matthews Buses regarding the easement and give an update. And then I am going to work on finding whatever agreements or contracts that we have with water sewer districts or anything else that they, that they may be
So
called.
there definitely should be one.
I do have one,
It's probably the one I signed.
probably.
Yeah.
And is there anything else that anyone wants added?
I don't think the 8x10 flyer for.
No.
Going out there, yeah.
We can put it on there, but it'll be over in 2 days. Whatever.
Yeah.
No, I think that's a test and evaluate.
It's gonna be interesting. We'll see.
I think it'd go farther if you laminated it.
Well, I do.
Something at the
I'm
top.
not so sure we want to spend that kind of money. And time.
Just, it was
Give
just
it a try.
It was just a silly little idea to see how convenient, how cooperative the public may
You'll
be.
see how, if your optimism is as great as I think it is.
It's gonna make it right down to the first planter that has not been cultivated, and someone's gonna go,
Yeah.
there.
You know,
You haven't figured out how cooperative people are with unlicensed vehicles already? You wanna try something else?
I guess I think we've got,
We've done good, we've done
we
good.
have got a lot of
I'm glad you mentioned that, because there was something earlier I should have mentioned, and this is, it's for the chief, but it's nothing you could have done because you weren't there, but, I've mentioned before about people going through the red lights. I'd like to see that cracked down. Well, today,
Actually,
almost had an accident because of some numbnut, and I realize that's on tape.
I looked right at that when you said that.
But that's exactly what this person was. Went through the light going south on Main Street. And the light had already turned because the car was coming out from Clara Barton there out by Leaning Tower, and he laid on his horn on this person. But the person must have been distracted by the horn because right in front of him was the mail truck who had stopped to make a turn into the driveway. And his back thing was already down. And if that car hadn't seen him at the last second, someone would have been beheaded.
well, we've definitely taken a beating in April, or, April and May. We've definitely taken a beating downstairs as far as activity.
I understand.
But we have the $2,500 from the grant. And we have the $15,700 from the DWI funding, so we'll have 15, all right, so we do the math on that, what's that, it's $19,000 that we're gonna start spending so many hours every week from June, first week of June through the end of November. So
Yeah.
we're gonna, and it's all traffic enforcement.
Is the
money.
DWI money gonna be used in reference with like when your high priority DWI times are, or?
Well, they're all.
I mean, I hate to see it being spent up at 6, from 6 in the morning till,
No, it won't be that. It's all, we're gonna keep it to, we found that 3-hour blocks or less are the most productive blocks. And give somebody more than 3 hours, the productivity goes down. So it'll be 3-hour blocks or more. So basically, if someone starts their shift at, 8 o'clock, they're gonna be free from at 5, start in. If they finish their shift at 2 o'clock, they'd be welcome to stay till 5, and so on and so forth. If somebody wants to come in on their day off and, maybe they've got court in Geneseo and they're already uniformed up and ready to go and they want to do 3 hours on a Wednesday afternoon or a Wednesday evening and do traffic. So and part of what we want to do is, it's a little more difficult, but we tried it last year. It could be done, just the day we picked was an overwhelmingly high traffic day. So we're hoping to start using some of it already, but just time ran against us, and here we are, so starting after June 1st, we'll have that money in.
overtime though, overall's in good shape and
Yeah, we just talked about this the other day, and we had to put the money back where it belonged, right, or whatever it was there, we did that, Megan did that. So in April, we had 87 hours. Of the 87 hours we used, which is a little high, but 32 hours of that was due to training. We did the suicide prevention training at the jail. So that's, and that's the initial, certification. I don't know what the annual is, what, can't be, it's not 8 hours an
No,
hour.
I think it's
It's way
short.
less, like an hour or two probably. So that was a big expense there, 32 hours there. And the next closest one was 30 hours for investigations. That's everything from DWI process and the jail transports, mental health arrest in the city, warrants and statements, photographs, and all that kind of stuff. There was 12 hours of courtroom testimony, which there's been more court witnessing testimony this last year. More cases, more criminal cases. And then there was 13 hours, it was just, which actually, it comes out of it's holiday pay for Good Friday, it comes out of the overtime initially, but then at the end of the year, Megan throws it back into the overtime. So of the 87 hours, there's actually only
30 hours.
70 something that was, 13 of that 87 is on another line item that we get to report to the list. So it was like $3,900, I think the report said, is what we spent. In May so far, we're looking at 16 hours for investigation purposes, DWIs, mental health transports, all that kind of stuff, and right now 7 hours for courtroom testimony. And we're halfway through the month, so. and
So overtime's down.
It's down. We had obviously a tough year, so we'll be within, I don't see a reason why we're not gonna be within the budget, but there won't be much left. I think we calculated we had, we're actually going into the month with like $5,000 available to us. So right now we spent $1,000 of it. So right now we're $4,000 to be good to the end of the month.
Don't spend it yet.
Yeah, so and obviously we're gonna have things come up. We got the parade on Saturday.
Uh-huh.
We got the car show. So there's gonna be
But
some.
for the most part, you're not seeing the overtime of shift coverage and all that stuff. I mean, it's just not, with your scheduling and all that, you're being able
No, what
to
we
keep
do
that
now
to a
is-
minimal?
What we do now is, we try to load up on Fridays and Saturdays for a couple different reasons. And if someone takes a day off earlier in the week, we try to trade a day off and try to give somebody a Saturday off to come in and work. What would it be overtime shift on Sunday or Tuesday or Wednesday, whatever. It's good. The guys are interested in doing that. Can't do it a lot, but you can do one. So that's worked. And, yeah, I don't know. Yeah, the shift coverage is going to be slight.
No, we appreciate
With
that.
7 people, it's going to be where it should be.
That's good. Good, I appreciate that.
Mr. Mayor, I want to back up just a little bit. I
Yep.
know we jumped right out of your business and I had something that, I know we chatted about this a little bit. Identification of our village equipment. We talked a little bit about that. Maybe a color scheme or something for our vehicles. I'd like to see some sort of identification on the equipment, like Village of Dansville on the side of it or something.
I think if you look through the bills, there was a bill that we approved, it was
There's decals and magnets.
decals and magnets, and I don't know, and it was through Scott, so I'm wondering if that was what we had talked, so
Well, last week when Robin brought it up.
I actually brought it up.
Was it you that brought it up? He was talking about the logo, that's what he
Yeah.
had talked about, but, and I still need to check with, put that on my list of things.
But
to
last
do.
month, we had discussed with Scott, and I see that there was a bill in there for logos and magnets and stuff, so without jumping the gun, I don't know if he did actually do something, because there is a bill in there for some of that stuff that was done.
I would like to continue talking about the color schemes and things like that
Mhm.
for down the road. I just think it's a great thing for the village. I mean, people go, hey, they go down that road and the village, Dan's are working down there. It's all the green or yellow trucks are working down there, you can tell who they are,
I would like to talk with Scott about putting like one of those yellow beacon lights on the top, so that when our village trucks are being operated, that light automatically comes on. It's a village truck,
As soon as they go.
and the beacon light turns on when it turns on, and people will know, hey, there's a village truck, could pull over at any point and have to deal with something, but I like the idea of that. I mean,
I don't know we're going to be able to do much with the equipment, but the trucks, the vehicles for sure we could get taken care of. Because the
Equipment, I'd like to at least see the decals put on.
Yeah.
That's what I.
Because that's going to come with the company scheme already on it, and not much we
Yeah,
can
but
do unless we want to spend extra
Nice to
money.
see Village of Dansville people know that's our piece of equipment there.
But trucks we can certainly order in a particular color.
But, it's out for chat right now, and we can see what's going on. But I like the idea of,
I like the idea of the red, because Dansville's kind of red and black, and
yeah.
and the last new truck we got was the water truck that Matt's driving around, it's red. I'd like to stay with that red, and
I don't want parade trucks out of them, but Wouldn't be bad to have one for each truck, would it?
You wanna drive it?
You can see, put the guys in hard hats and,
But anyway, that's.
and a reflective
keep that-
shirt or something.
Keep that ball rolling on identification of vehicles that are building vehicles.
Yeah.
I think moving forward, whenever we come to a point, if we ever approve a vehicle, we make sure it fits the color scheme.
Yeah.
And the other thing that I had that was something, and I heard bits and pieces, we didn't talk about the wash again this week, Kyle, truck wash or whatever.
Wash
The
bay.
wash bay.
Wash bay, is there any more information on that?
No.
That's all I got.
Okay. Anybody from the community, Jasmine?
Yeah.
Got any questions?
Yeah, for Memorial Day, is there something special going to be done for Alexandria, Gleason Road?
I don't know that there is. I've not seen anything. It'll probably be just the traditional Memorial Day honoring all, you know,
Honoring
all veterans who have sacrificed for this country.
Okay. And I just want to make sure I'm clear on this. You're doing the sidewalk law and the zoning public hearings on the same night,
Yes.
and it's going to be next meeting?
It'll be at the next regular meeting, June meeting, which is the 20th.
Okay. June 20th.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so back to back.
You
Yep.
said you won't be at the next department head
I
meeting?
won't be at the department head meeting on the 14th.
You'll leave an agenda though, right?
Yeah, why not?
And how are we on Dogwood Festival this year? You guys think everything's going to go smoothly?
Always does.
Yeah?
Yeah.
If the weather cooperates.
Yeah, if we don't get
It's
frozen
suppo-
out again.
It's supposed to be a nice weekend, yeah, so it
It'll
should
be
be
90 tomorrow, isn't it?
yeah, close to 90, yeah. It's anywhere from 85 to 90. Hotter the farther south from or from Rochester you go, so guess where we're at. We're probably right there on the edge of the 90. But as far as I know, everything's going according to schedule. Mr. Haywood came over and gave a talk today about the background on the Dogwood Festival and a little history about it, and said everything is moving along.
51 or 52 years.
51.
51.
This is the 51st one. Yep.
Yep. Last year was the 50th,
Yep.
obviously. Doesn't take a,
Yeah.
doesn't take a village trustee to figure that one out.
Anything else you'd like to ask?
I
Well,
think I got it. I think I got everything.
okay. If not, feel free to give us a call tomorrow.
Okay.
All right. And with that, I will ask for a motion to go into executive session for the purpose of discussing the work history of a couple of employees. And
Motion.
got a motion from trustee Rittenhouse,
Second?
second from trustee Zay. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, motion passes.